Okay, so the first stage is to remove this wheel because we need to take the tyre, the inner tube and the disc rotor off from it to fit to the other wheel we've got. So I'm just letting out the air so we can get that inner tube out and take the tyre off. Just use your tyre levers here to get the first side of the tyre off. Now we need to take out the valve, pull out the inner tube, ready to use on the other wheel. Just put this out of the way for the meantime. Now let's pull this tyre off the rim. Without the levers it's easy. So we now need the disc rotor from this wheel. If you've got gloves, try and use them because it saves the oil from your fingers and your hands getting onto the actual disc rotor part. So let's get these Torx bolts off this rotor. So I've already cracked these off screen, but they were difficult to free. But once you get started and they're free, they remove them, no problem. If you want to at this stage, you can clean the rotor while you've got it off the wheel. Now we need to remove the bolts from the new wheel. Okay, now those bolts are out of the way, we can get rid of this plastic spacer. It's not needed. And make sure you check the rotation of the disc rotor. As we're looking at the wheel here, the arrow should be counterclockwise. So when you're doing these bolts up, you can do them in a random order so they tighten down evenly. I did apply some medium strength Loctite to these bolts, but it's up to you if you want to do that or not. Just the blue Loctite medium strength. Now we need to take the tyre and put it onto this wheel. That also has a directional arrow, so match that up with the disc rotor. Just put on one side on first here. You don't always need your tyre levers for this sort of job here. You can normally do it by hand. Okay, so that's one side of the tyre now on. Can now fit the inner tube back into this wheel. When you're fitting the inner tube back in, try and leave a little bit of air in the inner tube. It's easier to put it back in and it stops you from pinching the inner tube if you're using levers. So let's get this inner tube back into the wheel. Valve in first. So the inner tube's going back in nicely. So at this stage it's quite easy to put the tyre back on. So it's all done. Just put your air in it and then put your dust cap back on. It's ready to drop it back into the forks. And make sure the washers with the tabs on are facing down, so they should be showing at the bottom of the forks. If you want to remove the caliper you can to make it easier for the wheel to go in, but this was okay, the spacing was okay. It just dropped in between the pads. Although the axles didn't sit completely down. So yeah, the axles didn't sit down in their dropouts. So at this stage I'm going to use a bit of wood and a hammer just to seat them right down, because you don't want them coming out. So doing it this way is not going to hurt the thread, and it'll apply just enough pressure down on that axle to make it sit in the dropouts properly. I think it's just the fact I had some thick paint on the dropouts. Seems to be the case on a lot of these forks, but this did the job anyway. As you can see, that washer with the tab on is right at the bottom of the forks on the dropout. Yeah, it's sitting in there nicely. Just check the other side. Yeah, that's in the forks as well, nicely. Yeah, happy with that. So on these forks, if you look on the previous video, you can see that they've got a recess, so you need to put washers on there to bring that out, so that bolt clamps fully onto the actual dropouts, not just to the outside where that recess is. So just a safety thing you can do with the washers included, and make sure you do the other side the same. So this is how I put my torque arm together for these particular forks. So the arch allows it to clear the front part of the forks. So the torque arm is an important part of doing this conversion, because the hub motor generates torque. So using the torque arm brings it down into the stronger part of the forks. So once you've got everything together, you can put your nut back over that cable, tighten both sides up, then put your caps back on. So I'm now going to tighten this nut here. So I'm now tightening the bolt of the torque arm. So I need to put the hose clamp around the back of the forks and through the clip, and then use the screw to tighten it down. So that's really nice and tight now, it's not going anywhere. Just a final check on that bolt. Okay, so now I need to put on the battery. So let's get this bottle cage off now.
Everything is not enough. Every sunrise is just for you. So come along and take my hand.
So here's hoping. You got to make sure you lock that in, or it's loose. So yeah, happy with that. So that's just a case of wiring in the speed controller. This speed controller is tiny compared to most of these speed controllers which you see now on the market, so that's pretty good. It means that you can get some of the, probably the power cable, because everything else is waterproof. The power cable I'll probably put inside here, push that back in. Yeah, but for testing purposes I'll just leave it like this for now. So we'll need to tidy all these wires up. For now, plug it in this way. Out of the way then. So, still got to do the pedal assist sensor. So that goes on the opposite side, the non-drive side. Put the throttle on. Hook up to the hub motor. This is the power to the hub. And LCD and your brake cut off if you use them. Power cable to the hub. So make sure you do push it down properly. You've got a line there, which I'll pop up on screen now. Just make sure it does meet to the line, or near enough to the line. Okay. Rest of these cables. Put out the way for now. So when you connect this, make sure it's switched off. That way you're not going to get any arcing or anything. I'm going to lock it in place. So this is the initial test run with the hub motor. I checked the lights, the LCD, not checked the brake sensors yet. Okay, so we're nearly ready to test it. Just got to plug it into the controller, LCD control. We'll line up the 2 arrows again, green to green. So just make sure everything's out of the way. Here we've got power. Showing 30 miles an hour without anyone on it, so promising. It's on power level 5. So yeah, 30 miles an hour. Okay, so the kit itself is all working, and let me show you again how you go into the settings menu. So switch it on and you hold up and down arrows for 5 seconds, and then you can just go into the display here. The first 3 is the only ones you want, so that's your power. Not going to go any higher than that. The middle to select. It's your wheel size, 27.5 is my size, and unit is 1 for miles per hour. Kilometers an hour I think is 0, so I'll leave it on 1, and you just hit the standby button again. We'll keep it held, I think, and it goes back. So yeah, coming up to the test part soon. Switch this off. So we will need to get these grips off. These are these silicone ones, they're a nightmare, but they do come off eventually. I need to get some more grips anyway, so use a split. Just put that to one side. To undo the brake lever. The gear shifter. Move those down.
Feeling hot by the ocean. Along those white hot sands. Where every sunrise is just for you. So come along and take my hand.
Even put the light switch over here and cut this down and use it again. It's a little hack. If you haven't got isopropanol or anything else around, you can use this hand gel because it's got alcohol in. It will evaporate. Put some on the inside. So this hand sanitizer does do the job. Little hack. There you go. I'll put the lights on at a later date and we'll try those. So I'll just put these stops back in, these caps. And like I said, lights will be going at a later date. I want to test it without the lights first. We'll put the lights on and do a nighttime test or something like that. So yeah, we're nearly there. Just need to tidy up all the wiring. Still need to put the brake cut-off sensors. I'm not sure how I'm going to rig them up yet, or if I'm going to use them. Okay, so I'm going to be hooking up this pedal assist sensor. So first off, you've got to bring out this bolt here. So take out that bolt. Spray some GT85 in there just to free it up. You can clean the threads if you want. This should be clean because it's had a cover on. If yours hasn't got a cover on, just get some GT85 or WD-40 and clean the threads. Make sure you don't cross thread this when it goes in. Just do this up tight. Once it's tight, you then wind this in. Sometimes these can be really tricky to remove. We'll see. Yeah, this is pretty tight. Okay, so I've just cracked this loose with my tool, my extractor tool. Just now extracting that pedal arm off. There you go, that's off now. So this pedal assist sensor can go on. So that pushes in.